Hello everyone, and welcome to the first 2020 episode of Tech Toaster. Oh boy! So, if you were here last year, I did a lot of these episodes called Tech Toaster, and it was where I would open up some tech and maybe toast some toast. I'm just kidding on that last part. Anyway, so what we got today is this PowerBook 145B. I got this along with a 145 like shortly before Christmas last year. And it worked for a while until its floppy drive gave out. So I ordered a replacement and that doesn't work, and that replacement is currently in here. But the replacement works better than what broke initially, so we're going to try to fix the replacement. So let's cut to the desk cam. As you can see here, we've got our PowerBook. Now the fun thing about my PowerBook is the door's wee wobbly. And that's not something that I can fix now because it's got a missing clip. However, we can fix the floppy drive. And let me actually show you what happens when I try to do this. The battery's probably dead, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Okay, well, in that case, I need to plug it in. So that's just another thing that we'll have to cut. Whoa, jump cut. Alright. So let me show you what happens when it tries to boot. Or it could just not turn on. Come on, please. 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 Yay! Alright. So now we have to wait for it to get past this. See, this is, if you're gonna get a PowerBook, and for some odd reason you get the 140 line, get the B. Because I had a 145, and it's trash, and the only good thing that came out of my second 145 was the screen, which I actually put into this one because it's nicer. But this one has a faster processor or something, or better RAM or something. And it gets to this screen faster, and it boots a little faster too, so. Anyway, so what happens is a pretty common issue. You put in the disk and it says, no! So we can't have it saying no. Alright? So what we'll do is we'll clean the drive, or figure out how to, and maybe take an exploration on the inside. And yes, it's a replacement battery. It came with it. It only lasts 3 minutes in the operating system. Because once upon a time, this PowerBook actually booted, and I can coax it into playing games. Anyway, we should probably get back to the main video now. So anyway, with the battery disconnected, and same with the power connector, we can begin dissecting. Now what we will need, on the bottom there are 4 T10 heads. And okay, that'll have to come out. One moment. There we are. So, got Torx 10 driver. And we will just shove it into the screws and see if they come out. Alright, now that we've got those, let's do my favorite little magic trick. And there we go. Now behind the door, right here, there is a T8 screwdriver hole, or screw, and I've got that right over here, I believe. No. Here. So let's get that inserted. This door is gonna... Now this door may seem like it's gonna be in the way, but it's no match for me. And that just screws. So that just comes right off. The screw didn't want to, though. Let's see if I can get that. Righty, so if you're dumb enough to open it like I just did, the laptop separates into two separate parts, and I don't know if you can see it. I should probably make sure. There's a ribbon cable right there connecting the top side and the bottom side. All you need to do is just unhook it. Then the back, or the bottom, should just lift right out. Or maybe the top lifts off. I don't know. Let's find out. And once I finagle it, and there we go. Top assembly comes off. Now this isn't the part that we need. However, if you're thinking of replacing the screen, there are, as far as I know, a couple different models that these laptops came with. My 140, for example, or 145, had a red power cable. Turns out those two are not compatible with each other if you just decide to swap the screen. So if you are swapping the screen, make sure that if you're taking it out of a parts machine, you get this as well. Otherwise, it will not work and make a horrifying screeching sound on PowerUp. And you probably don't want that. So, yeah, make sure you get this little board out if you're swapping the screens. But the screen is not what we're looking for, so let's put this over here. That was the sound of my chair. I promise I did not just snap that piece in half. I actually don't even know if you heard that sound, but it was my chair imploding. So here's our little RAM board. It's a little daughter board hooked up to another daughter board hooked up to the motherboard. Now, judging by the Motorola logo here, I'm assuming this is like the main CPU area with the RAM attached to that. Don't really know what else is on the bottom. I don't know a lot of things, if you can't tell already. Anyway, so then we have our hard drive, which mine is also dead. You could probably tell that by the fact that it doesn't boot. And then here's the floppy drive. Now this is what we're after. Now, why is that missing screws? Oh well. Oh, right. That's another thing that I've seen with these machines. The screw stocks seem to break really easily. The screw stocks here and here are broken in this computer. However, I had a PowerBook 145 that almost every screw stock was broken, holding the computer together. So it was really difficult getting things out of it. And yeah, that was a nightmare of a computer. My second 145, I believe, just has a broken screw stock like here and somewhere else on the motherboard. So that seems to be a common issue with these, I think. At least that's how I seem to receive them. Anyway, so one more fun fact before we get into the thing. This RAM module is slightly smaller than my other 145s. However, they also don't seem to be very compatible. Now, when I say smaller, I don't mean RAM. In fact, I haven't compared the RAM between these two computers. But this is what this one has. The other computer has these 4 slots filled, I believe, and like an extra little ick coming off of it. I think there's like slightly larger chips or something. Point is, if you switch these, apparently they won't work either. Now, I don't know if that's just my machine, or I'm also going to make sure this is recording. Okay, good. Now, I don't know if it's just my machine, but mine did not work when I would put the larger RAM module into this computer. So this one stays. What does it say there? It says Apple right underneath that, but can't really see it too good. Now let's get this board back in place, since it does not have to be removed to get the floppy drive out. That is, if I can get it back in. That's a better question. And there we go. So now we have to get out the floppy drive. So let's unplug the hard disk cable. If it wants to, that's a better question. Does it want to? Or does it? There it goes. So that you just pull on that and it should come off. Another common issue with these is the hard drives don't really function too good. Oh, is that a broken screw stock that I see upon my eye? Why, of course it is. Lovely. Alright, well, that may become an issue, but we'll find out. Let's see if maybe there's actually some glue down here. I'll probably fix that later. And I would have fixed the screw stocks holding these two parts in place, but I don't know where they went, so. Come on. There you go. Do you want to come out for me? Or do you just want to stay there and be a jerk? Wait, it might. No, that's not coming off. Alright, well. Conveniently, just slightly bending it up this way will give me access to the drive. Now, I don't think it matters which side you disconnect if you're taking apart one of these. But there's a ribbon cable here holding in the floppy drive. So let's take it out from this side. So there are two tabs on each side of this plastic piece that you simply just push out. Oh my god! And just like that, the ribbon cable should wiggle out of place. Be careful with ribbon cables. They are easy to break. So let's get this floppy drive out. If it wants to come out, that's a better question. Come on. You know you want to. It's being held in by something. Let's get this cable out of the way and find out what it is. Now this cable appears to be taped and or glued, so be careful when removing these. Looks to be double-sided tape of some sort. I think it would be better if we get this cable out of the way. Now, if your computer, or if your PowerBook was actually a fully stocked PowerBook with some fully stocked screw stocks, you wouldn't be having the issue that I am having currently. Now, hopefully we can get to the drive a bit easier. Almost got it. This screw stock here, appears that this one just came right out. This screw stock here is really being unfriendly. Also, now I'm wondering, this cable just came out awfully easily, as if this part was loosened, and of course it is loosened, quite a bit. Well, now I wonder if the drive wasn't working because the cable wasn't in good. Well, let's keep trying with this, and we'll find out later. this one? No. That's not it either. I can already tell. Now, I bet you're wondering, Daniel, why couldn't you have just tested that spare drive that you had on another thing? I'll tell you one thing. Actually, let me just tell you the story. So, the drive that I got was one of those external drives that's supposed to connect into this weird and wacky port on the back. And the weird and wacky port looks completely identical. But it turns out Apple made, like, 2 different variants of it. And there's one that's slightly smaller. And that disk drive that I got, or the external box, used the smaller connector. Which means I couldn't plug it into here, which is what I was going to do. So that was unfortunate. So I just decided, okay, well, the mechanism's probably the same. I'll just slap it into here. Sure enough, it is. That's how it is on most Macintoshes, as I've seen. This screw stock is also really weird. Somehow, this one piece of metal is keeping it from coming out. I think it's because it has to be shifted for it to come out in the first place. And I can't get it to shift because the screw is in the way. I may just test this first. So let's do that, I guess. Let's screw this back in. If this entire video is ruined by a single screw, I swear to gosh. Okay. Let's slide this side of the cable back in. Then we just poke back in the little slots. Okay. Now let's figure out why this cable seemed awfully loose and excited to come out earlier. Don't tell me that's... Okay, good. For a second, it looked as if the entire connector was, like, popping out of the computer. But no, that's just the... But yeah, if the connector was... Or if the cable was so eager to come out in the first place, maybe the cable wasn't in good, or the connector wasn't pushed down, so there wasn't a good connection between the computer and the drive, which I'm betting is a good reason why it's not working. But let's find out. So let's connect the top piece real fast. Anyway, now that we've got the two halves connected, I don't think we necessarily need to screw it all together yet. Let's just make sure it actually works. I didn't plug in the hard drive cable because the hard drive doesn't work, so... Oh, you can't see the screen. Can you see it now? Barely. Alright, well that's a shame for you then, isn't it? It's the drive in the... No, that'll work. So let's see if removing the cable will do anything. I have my doubts. Here we go. Time to be disappointed. No way! Goodbye. I swear to God. I swore. I've had this computer just laying around because I thought the drive was dead this entire time. And it wasn't. It was just a cable. Okay. Well. This computer sure is full of surprises, isn't it? Okay, well, I guess that the video's concluded then. Now we just have to wait for it to finish booting. It was a cable the entire time. It has stopped booting. That is not good. The mouse is still moving, so that's good. Nothing else is happening though. Okay, well, tell you what. Let's power it off. Let's power it off. There we go. And unplug it. Alright, well, let's screw it back together. It was a... Oh, wait, no, I can't screw it back together yet. Never mind, don't screw it back together. I almost forgot. I need to hook back up the hard drive cable. Even though the drive is dead, it's... I still feel like it's useful having the cable in. And no, the cable is not the reason the hard drive doesn't work either. This hard drive came out of my first 145, and one time I took it to school to show my friends, and then this idiot in my class decided, oh, I'm going to go running around the library backwards without watching where I'm going, and then tripped over the charger cable, and then the hard drive died, because... Believe it or not, the computer was on as well. And the computer booted at the time. It had a broken screen, but it booted. And if it wasn't for that kid, this hard drive would still be functional. But now I have to either get $80 to buy one of those SD card reader nightmare machines for this computer and get it from some random website that my dad doesn't know about, so he probably won't even trust it because they aren't on eBay or anything. Or I could just buy another one of these hard drives from some guy that doesn't even know if his hard drives work or not and just hope that I get a working one. Alright, well, let's get the main case assembly back on. It's the wrong way. Well, that was a short and simple little tech toaster, which is good, I guess. Remember to connect that ribbon cable at the back of it. I believe it would make it easier if the feet weren't up, so the laptop can stay flat. Then we need our T8 driver and our small screw, aka the screw that the T10 screwdriver doesn't fit into. And we'll get that in there. I wish this door would close. I've actually gotten it to sort of close a couple times. And like actually stay closed. It hasn't done that for a while. In fact, if anything, it's gotten looser. It's kind of like my Nintendo Switch's kickstand, where when I got it, it was like the flimsiest little kickstand I've ever seen. In fact, if school wasn't closed due to the wonderful little virus of ours, I would be able to 3D print a new stand. But not. I would have gotten it if I wasn't stupid. Because we have 3 lunches, and on Thursdays I will have an A lunch. An A lunch is when I can go up to this one teacher's class and 3D print stuff. And I forgot to do that, so I didn't get to 3D print the stand. Oh well. Anyway, let's slide the battery back in. There we go. Slide it back in and make sure it still works. Let me tilt it like that, and it doesn't want to turn back on. I feel like the battery is causing some issues because the battery seems to be preventing the computer from turning on, which is probably not good. It does this lovely pattern every time it turns on. It's wonderful. I should get the other PowerBook down here and show you what the old floppy drive did and why I replaced the screen in this one. Question is, will it boot again? Because it's not making any sounds, and it's just staying on a gray screen with a mouse. Oh, I hear it. Well, while you watch this boot, I'm going to go get a lightning cable for my phone and also my games floppy disk. A loose cable. I see the Finder. Hey, would you look at that? It booted. Excellent. Alright, well, let's show you what happened, or let's just do a little demonstration of the PowerBook. Let me get the screen to something more tolerable for your screeny eyes. I don't think I can get rid of the scan lines, though. Anyway, so, let's do the main thing. This is the disk tools disk, because it's the only disk that actually boots to the operating system. You know, this. My other disks only boot to the installer, and my other disk only works on my Macintosh Plus. Ooh, I should bring the Mac Plus down here. Maybe for another video. Anyway, so let's go into the hard drive setup and show you what I mean by the hard drive does not work. This thing was sitting on my shelf for over 3 months because I thought the floppy drive was broken. Anyway, as you can see, it can't find a hard drive. Which is, okay, sure, I guess I can't hit enter to continue. Which is an issue because that means I can't initialize a hard drive, which means I can't install the operating system. So, yay. However, to show you the power of flex tape, I ejected the system disk. Now it wants me to reinsert it, which I will, but then I'm going to show you some magic. I will simply eject it once more. Now you may be asking yourself, Daniel, what is the freaking point of doing this? I mean, it's not like you'll be able to access the rest of the operating system afterwards. But here's the deal. If I can't get the operating system onto the hard drive, how else am I going to play some games? So in order to load my games disk, since I don't have an external drive, I have to take out the disk tools disk and then put in the games. I used to do this with my Macintosh before I got its external drive, my Macintosh Plus. And as you can see, it asks for the disk tools. However, now the computer knows that there's a second disk, so it'll want me to keep swapping it until the Finder can pull up the games. And I'll just go ahead and fast forward through this because it takes a really long time on the PowerBook. A lot longer than it would on the Plus for some reason. As you can see, the icon showed up though. And there we go. Now we've got our Finder open. It has to think every time it wants to do something. So anyway, I've got a bunch of games here. I've got Breakout Amazing, which is a hilarious pun to a maze game. We got Crystal Quest, which is my personal favorite, especially with the trackball. We got Load Runner, Missile Command, which is also supposedly good with a trackball. And, I mean, I heard the original arcade cabinet is pretty good with a trackball, since it came with one. We got Hangman and the Scarab of Ra, which is a pretty fun little adventure game, and Tetris. It doesn't have any music, though, so that makes it one of the most saddest, most depressing games of Tetris ever to be conceived. However, the fun thing with the PowerBook is that it doesn't seem to regulate its volume very good, so it is incredibly loud. So let's play it! Now here's the fun thing. On the Macintosh Plus, before I had my external drive, of course I would have to go through this disk swapping process. But it seems to take less time on the Mac Plus than it does on this. It takes so long to do this, hence why I'm going to turn on my little hanging fan over here. I don't know if that's high or low. Then we are going to fast forward this. I think it's done, but it keeps the block on screen for some reason. Because it already drew the screen, and now it can't anymore for some reason. Anyway, let's get the contrast to something that actually sort of makes sense. Hey, look at that, it refreshed the screen. How fun. In fact, well, let's do some camera wizardry here. Can I actually leave this on? Let's find out. Well, it doesn't matter to you, apparently, but it does to me. So anyway, this is my personal favorite game on my little games disc. Also, that seemed to load up the game faster than it usually does, so... Anyway, what's interesting about this is that on the Macintosh Plus version, this little border doesn't exist, and it actually fills the screen. And I think that's just because it's an old CRT screen, and then this is a nice widescreen LCD. I shouldn't really say widescreen. I mean, it is a wide screen. Question is it 16 by 9 or 16 by 10? All Macs should be 16 by 10. I'm talking about you, iMac, and Cinema Display, and Thunderbolt Display, and I believe the Pro Display XDR. 16 by 10 is just a lot nicer, in my opinion. And my opinion is probably wrong for some of you. Anyway, so let's skip the instructions, because I know how to play. Now, where did this high score come from, and why is it already here? Because I did not play it today. Well, I mean, I guess we might as well play. It's a really fun game, and I can't wait to have my ears pierced. Like, you know, like bloody. Like, not like freaking earring nightmares. So let's play. Oh, it's actually not loud. Neat. Okay. No. I refuse your existence. So yeah, you play as this little circle guy, and you collect the crystals and stuff, and... That's another thing, this game runs substantially quicker than the Mac Plus version. There's too much sound happening. This game runs a little bit faster than the Mac Plus version. And I mean, I understand why. It's a much faster computer. Now, my only question is now, and I muted the sound because it was getting loud and obnoxious. I wonder... Stop existing. I wonder if the game still crashes when you turn the volume up to 9. There are 10 volume options, 1 through 0. And if you turn it to 9 on the Mac Plus, it will crash the computer. Like the entire machine. It will have to be restarted. It's hilarious. And you know what? I would play a lot more if I could see the screen and wasn't like a foot away and stretching on my arm. I'd play a lot more. But let's not. So let's see if it crashes. Hey, it doesn't! Neat! Oh well, I died. Let's keep dying, because I'm tired of playing for today. Oh no! Yeah, this is just a fun game I like to play on here. And it's going to ask for disk tools so it can load the operating system. And we're going to keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Because it wants to load the games disk. Even though that I don't want it to load, but it forces me to. So yeah, I guess my PowerBook works now. That's convenient for me, I guess. Still don't know why I didn't latch that cable in. But, hey, if it works, it works. So, this video is over quick, I guess. Let's cut back to the... So, I guess that means my PowerBook is working again. Yay! I sure do wish the Mac would stop forcing me to go to screensaver. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little ring-a-ding-ding-ding, and join the subreddit. I do have another thing to say, though. You may have noticed a lot of videos coming out daily. That's not my normal schedule. I'll say that now. Whenever school comes back, the schedule is gonna change to only weekly. So maybe like 2 or 3 videos during the weekends. Of course, if we just don't have school for the rest of the semester, not only would that be awesome for me, whether it's E-Day or something stupid, but also I can make more videos, and I guess we're gonna have to see how well Google Chrome will upload videos. Because it turns out, YouTube runs a whole lot better on Google's own browsers than it does on Safari. Which is also funny because Apple's website runs horribly on anything besides Safari. For me, at least. I just thought that was funny. Anyway, so yeah, we got the PowerBook working. It's honestly my favorite Macintosh computer that I own. Maybe I'll do another tech toaster at some point where I show like my vintage Mac collection, sort of like what Plain Rock did. So that'd be interesting. So yeah, I'll go get the other PowerBook, and I guess I'll do a quick video on what happens with the drive. And then maybe a time-lapse of the battery on how long it lasts if I can get it to work. So, like, comment, subscribe, hit the little ring-a-ding-ding-ding. I already said this, but join the subreddit. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye! Alright, let me show you why I swapped the screen with these two. As you can see, contrast and everything is all the way up, and you can't see like a single thing. It's ridiculous. This is my little external drive. Its door is broken, so it doesn't stay in position. And as you can see, port looks pretty similar. It's not. It's ridiculous. It's slightly smaller and more rounded than the connector on the back of these two laptops. You can barely see the disc though. And as you can see, it's already saying X, or did, which is also incorrect. But when we put the disc in, oh, Jesus. Never did that before! Because this screen came... Man, this computer just doesn't like existing. Alright, fine, be that way.